So hi, my name's Stuart. We're going to be fitting this 11.8 inch Drimatt touchscreen to my Mini F55 on 2016 plate. We've got some trim tools, don't really need them all, just need one. We've got all the wires and cables there, and we'll go through those as we fit it. So it's going into a F55 convertible, and it's got the 6.5 inch non-touch screen. So the ignition is off, power's off, and I fit quite a few of these. So just a reminder of how to remove the existing stereo, so and get to things you want. So first thing I always do is trim tool and lift that plate up. It comes out fairly easily with the trim tool there. Then underneath there, one this side and one that side, you have got, I think there's one missing actually, I don't know where that's gone. Yeah, just prod that in, and then the trim tool will take that out. There he is. Pick him up off the floor in a second, go careful with that one. And then essentially you are going to watch, take the push button there to take the surround off, and then you push it again after undoing 2 Torx bolts behind the fascia to remove the stereo. So I'm going to pause and move on and take that off because there's hundreds of videos on this. So yeah, we've removed the 2 Torx, pushed it down, now we've got the front face off, and I'm going to rest that down there. I've already got an MMI box fitted, so you can see that I've already got some extra cables there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to strip out my MMI box. I'm going to take out that vent, which is on a Torx there, and then you just pull it out. And I'm going to take out that panel with a bit of trim tool there, because we've got some cables will feed over. So yeah, the vent comes out with a Torx and a pull. Same that side, a Torx and a pull, and that trim panel just pulls out with a trim tool. So I'm going to remove that, remove my MMI box, and then I'll be back to square one. So I've removed my MMI box. So this is what you will see if you've never fitted anything. So that's the back of the screen. You've got the hazard plug there. I couldn't tell you what the white one actually controls, but we'll be removing that. You've got that plug there, which again goes into the LCD screen. You've got the video cable there. And then you've got a power and other switches cable at the bottom there that comes up. And then all I've done in the video that they will send you, they take this whole unit out. You don't need to do that. You need to remove a Torx bolt there, a Torx screw on there each side, and then that folds forward like that. Now we can get to absolutely everything we need. So what the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to work out for myself what cable is what, and go from there. So the first thing I'm going to fit is the main loom. So it's putting this bypass in for the main head ute, and then we've got a series of plugs that go into the back of the new head unit. Audio, seems to be power, etc. So we'll work out where those goes. Interesting enough, this gold one here with the Laro on it, you actually slide it across and up, and takes a SIM card, and that must be the 4G because it comes with a 4G aerial. So 4G SIM card. So I'm going to route that to my glove box in case I decide to use it. So what I'm going to do is get in the car, and I'll show you first of all how to fit the main starting point there. So we're going to fit the main bypass loom. So this is the giant plug here. So you just flick up the back and gently pull it forwards, and as you pull the lever up, it will pop out. And there he is. So all I'm going to do with that one is just sit him there. I am then going to get the female part of this loom, and I'm going to gently push that one in and lock it in place with the lever. So that's gone together, and then I'm just going to lock it down in place. So that is the new loom in that end, and then I'm going to do exactly the same on the other end. So I'm going to release the clip here. We do that, so you can see now I've got the clip open, and I'm going to place it into there, gently lining up all the pins. It goes in fairly easily. Push it down as much as you can, and then you can gently rotate that forward. If it doesn't go forward the first time, just push the main plug down until it goes, and there it goes, and it will lock in place. There we go. So the main plug loom is in now. and that's nice and solid. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to have a look at the other connectors that I've got. So we've got a whole batch connected to this loom, so I'm just going to work out where they go. But they're all individual, so they look like they fit pretty easily into things. So I've grabbed the new head unit now here, because a lot of these plugs go into plug holes on here. That one, all those. So as I just sticking to the main loom, we've got this giant one here, and I'm just having a look at where that fits. So the biggest one, which is the biggest white one on there, and that would appear, so that's audio, so that's got the audio jacks on it. That seems to fit in that first one, in and click. Then I have got this little black one, that's got 8 pins. That top one has got 8 pins. Now they are a funny shape, so I'm wondering if they fit into there. Yep, so again that black one off the main loom goes into the top there, that sits nice and snug. Then we've got a little white one here, and again looking at that white one, and looking at the sockets here, that's got 8 pins. That one is 8 pins, that was 10. So that one is going to go in there. Can't really go wrong with that. Our sim we're going to reroute somewhere. So also on this loom now we've got 2 more. So we've got this big black one here. So that has to go over here. So that locks in place there. So that's fairly self-explanatory. While I was thinking, I've attached the 4G aerial to the back there, and I've attached the GPS aerial to the back there. I've left them coiled up for the minute. The Wi-Fi one appears to be self-contained. That doesn't come off, so don't pull that. Then there doesn't appear to be another socket this size on here. I've got no more plugs left on this loom, but I've got an idea of where this socket left on the main loom goes. So I'm going to pause for a second. So I've grabbed some more bits from the box. So this box here, this is the converter from MBT to your new screen, and that's got the white plug in it. There, look. So the last white plug off of the main loom that I've just fitted is going to go on here. There you go, so you can see that plugs into that box. That box should fit behind the screen, and that has got the, whatever you call them, connector for the screen on. So it needs to take the video output. So what I'll do is in a minute I'll start transplanting sockets from that old head unit into the new head unit, and I'm guessing that will be one of them. But for the moment I've also got here the reversing video camera. Now this is for an aftermarket one, but it says in the guide that the stereo needs these in. So even if you're not fitting a aftermarket reversing camera and you're going to keep the original, you need to fit it for these 2 little cables here. Again, that only fits into one of the sockets on the back. And that's locked in place. Then that leaves me here coiled up a USB cable. So I'm going to pause while I undo that, because I'm going to thread that to the glove box. In fact, you will get this thing, quite important. And in there is a switch for the top of the screen at hazard, and I don't know what the other one is, unlock or whatever. A converter to plug into the existing hazard loom, and obviously the other one goes out. You also have this. And I was beginning to wonder what on earth this was, but actually this matches the bottom cable that comes out of the bottom of the old screen. So it's actually not in the instructions, but it can't go anywhere else, and I'm presuming it's because those are dead-ended or not needed anymore. So I'm going to plug those 2 together. So you can see I've plugged that sort of dead-end adapter into that loom. And then what I've done is I have threaded my cable through where the hazard goes. I've plugged that white cable in, plug very, very carefully. And then what you can do is just gently sort of pull it back. And then obviously I'm at the back of the screen, so the tip of the triangle needs to be pointing towards me, and that switch just gently pushes into the void and sits in place. And obviously the other end of it is going to be needed to be plugged in, so that's sitting in there, look, it sits in place, nice. And the other end of the hazard, we need to find the hazard cable from the original, which is this one. It's quite meaty for what it is, and again connect those up. So again, I've connected the old hazard plug off of the old screen into that delicate little cable which goes up, and we might need to just think about where we route that when we put it all. So I might need to do some jiggery pokery. So at the moment, this white cable that is left over from the old screen, I can see nothing where it fits, where it goes, doesn't fit into any of the new ones, and there's nothing in the instructions about doing anything with it. Likewise, this little black power one, there is nothing to do it, so I can only think that's like the LCD screen power, and perhaps one of the other functions on the old head unit. So yeah, I can't see, so I'm going to leave those for now, but I have put the dead end one in there, so I've got no bits left in the old one. So then last but not least, we have our USB cable here. Now this white plug goes into the back of the new screen, but we have got the whatever F adapter, whatever they're called. So what you need to do is on the big head unit at the back, tucked away in the screen because you've got it tilted forward, do you see the white cable? What we're going to do is pinch the clip and gently ease it up, and that's USB. And what we're going to do is we're going to put the USB across into our USB cable, and that basically means now is your onboard USB slot down there is now going to be wired in to our new head unit, but our head unit also gets a feed off of the thing. So the USB functionality on the old NBT system will now not work. So again, what I'm going to do is the USB now can slide here, and again 6 pin, there is only one hole with 6 pins, so I'm gently going to stick my 6 pin in there. So I do have some spare spots. There's a 4 pin there, and then there's another big one there, but I'm guessing they're for other add-ons or other vehicles because I don't have anything left. So the only other thing that needs connecting is the aerial. Now I don't know whether I got the DAB version or the non-DAB version, but again I fitted the adapter into the back of here that comes with the kit, and then it is one of these up here. Now I'm going to hazard a guess that it's the green one. And these you pull up with your fingernail, the little cliplet, so that little clip pulls up and then it pulls off, and that is the car aerial, and then I can put the two of them together. So I'm going to try that, and then what I'm going to do is offer it up. So there you go, you can see now I've got the DAB aerial from the car. Now in the instructions, if you want to not use the radio on here and you want to use the existing car radio through the NBT system, which you can switch between, you would leave that plugged into the existing head unit, because now the existing head unit and existing NBT system will not have an aerial. So I'm going to try the new head unit. If the radio is like a lot of Chinese radios, obviously I don't listen to a lot of radios where you don't have all of the fancy stuff, then I'll put it back. But to be fair, the NBT radio is appalling in terms of like visual, so I'm hoping this one is better. So for the moment, the only cables that aren't plugged back into anything are these two, which is fine. I've got a USB plugged in, my main loom's in, I've got my aerials, which I'm not going to sight for the minute, my audio's in, my converter box is in. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to screw the main box, just going to push that back in place and screw that back in place. I'm going to just push the cables in, and then I'm going to see what happens. So all I've done for the moment is tuck everything in there, but what I did do actually is I unplugged the GPS and the 4G antennas. The GPS antenna is mounted at the top, then I threaded it down there, through the top vent and in through there, nice and tidy. And then on the underside of that vent, I've done the 4G aerial, stuck upside down, and that comes back in again. So again, just routes them really neatly. Yeah, I'm going to see that little cable, but I'm not too worried about that. And then I've just tucked everything in place. There. So the only thing I haven't routed is, so you can see out of the glove box there, I've got my USB female and I've got my SIM card. The only thing I haven't done anything is my microphone, because I haven't decided whether I need it first. So I suppose the proof's in the pudding. Let's turn her on. Help if I unlock the car. There we go. Oh, there we go. Oh, I've got a mini logo, it's always a good start. Everything's looking good so far. I like it, I like the logo and I like the colours. Guessing the first time it might take a bit of time to load up, will it? Android. So I'm guessing if it's got its own GPS antennae, 4G antennae, it will have native apps. So it might be able to run apps without my actual phone being needed. So yeah, I mean it's booting up. You might pick it up, but it's sort of throbbing in terms of what's going on that. It's 36 degrees where I am at the moment. There we go. So it says Bluetooth disconnected. So one of the first things it says to check when you've got everything plugged in, so I'll do a separate video on functionality, is the car interface, which is this button. So you press that and it should switch thing. So if it comes up with that, then you've got to go around it. So when you press the car button here, you get that screen there, which should display the Evo. So what you need to do is go home, go to the dots, in the apps, go to car set, go to vehicle settings, and you see here it says original car resolution NBT 1280 by 480. Mine's not. Mine is the smaller screen, so that's set for 8.8. So we're going to put it as the 6.5. Let's go home, and then let's press the car, and then I've got my reversing camera on there because I just tried the reversing camera out. So yeah. So there you go. Look. So I've got my display in my display, and there are endless settings which I haven't played with. But you just put the clutch in. So yeah, you can hear them beeping away, and the sensors going. Look, which is wicked. Far clearer than the ones in on the Mini. So not only do you can turn the lines on in the settings, and you've got the picture there. But you've also got the warning there, looking where the closest bit to the fence behind is. Really like that. So let me just get it out of reverse. And then I imagine that will drop me back in a minute, but it's back. But you can also use your settings. So if I press my menu button down here, and I push and hold it, that takes me back to my car native video. So again, if I get it out of reverse, if I start the car, and then I press menu and it goes back to my settings. So I'll have a bit of a tweak with that. I'm not sure what the flashing is about there, so again I will have a look at that in the settings. But yeah, so far so good. So I'll stitch these videos together. So I've paired with the device on the Bluetooth. I've got to go into the settings apparently and enable Android Auto. But what I'm going to do is tidy everything up. So I will route the microphone for now and stick it somewhere nice in case I need to use it. As I say, I've routed my aerials nicely. So I'm going to put it all in so it fits perfectly and you can't see anything because I need to fit the surround, and then we'll see what happens. So just a quick amendment, a bit of a faux pas. Obviously I forgot to put the surround in. That's really easy. Surround fits the 2 bolts you took out of the main head unit back into there, look, and then it clips in to the top. Obviously I've had to unplug everything from the back of there quickly just to feed it through. I took the opportunity to add the microphone up there, look, and feed that through. So again, I'm just going to tidy up the cables now and then clip it in place. So some last little bits on the fitting video. So don't fit the hazard light until you're ready to put the face on, and you need to route the hazard up through the back of the fascia and through this hole here, because basically if you don't feed it through there, it gets caught up. You need to put the fascia on, and then the last thing you do is put the little switch on, and I'll show you that in a second. The other thing that isn't clear in the instructions is that you need to remove off the old head unit these 2 clips from the top. In fact, there's 3, isn't there? No, just the 2 silver ones you need to remove off each side, and you need to put them on the fascia. Otherwise it is a little bit wobbly, so I'm going to do that and then go from there. So back at it. So you can see I've tidied up the cables, and the front is on, sat in place, but I've not turned it the little turn to lock it in place. So you can see what I've done is I brought up the little tiny white cable there, so the thread through the back, comes in through the back of there, and you do need to do that to get it to sit in place. And then when I twist lock it in place, those 2 holes will line up there, and you stick the little plastic dot in. So yeah, all I'm going to do now is attach the hazard light, gently stick that in the hole, turn it in place, and then put the pin in. So just an update, let me turn that down, so watch it to the end, is that the radio does work. So I unplugged the green cable from the back of the head unit, if you remember, and connected it. It's not. FM is the black, it's the middle of the 3 aerials on the right hand side. I'll try and edit it into the video to show you, but the radio's now working quite nicely. I don't have the DAB module. I've emailed the guys because they did say they would send it, and I was really hoping to have that, because I like listening to DAB radio, so unless I can't find it, but the FM radio works really nicely. Yeah, but it's like every other Chinese radio, but to be fair, it can't be worse than the mini one. So